Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a packed show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Props.
Good morning, guys.
They ain't got no problem.
Trying to distract the audience from the truth.
I know what you was thinking, Skip
Wait,
Bayless.
do you have a hand cast?
No.
In there? You need a hand cast for your right hand.
Hey, Joy Taylor, you know
Did
what
you
he was
break
thinking?
your hand?
He was thinking, like somebody else I know, because everybody in RSVP, I wasn't going to have my party. Joy Taylor, they talk about, hey, you ain't going to have no party. I'm going to have me a party. I don't care what y'all doing.
Apple juice.
Yeah. Smelly. You tell me. You tell me.
Wait, now I have to do a whole show with a drunk guy?
Nah, don't worry about me.
I mean, he's definitely going to be drunk because that was the first. So did we just watch Shannon Sharp do his first shot?
Think I was going to go party. I ain't like somebody else I know.
Uh-oh, we may be stepping out of bounds a lot on this show.
Yeah.
What are we partying for?
You know.
A big move?
I had
It's always nice to celebrate a big move.
No, I
big
was
changes.
planning on having a celebration because we was going to be 2 games. It was going to be 3 games to 2. That's what I was thinking. And since that didn't happen like that, I'm going to party anyway. I don't need anybody to come to my party that
Really?
you think LeBron was going to have. Not run tell that.
So you're celebrating that you now owe me 11 cases of Diet Mountain Dew? Is that
Man,
what you're
I'm more worried about them 300 wings I got to play raw party.
That's a lot of wings. Boy,
Rob
you
make
could
me sick.
One of these
you
days
make
you're
me
gonna-
sick
you're
too.
gonna learn these
All y'all make me sick.
I just appreciate the fact and respect the fact that you showed up today. That's
wouldn't I show
impressive.
up?
I didn't think you were going to be here.
Well, I'm here.
Good. Let's do it, Joy.
You will get done up because you know right now I'm in
Yep.
that rage,
You
Joy.
had a good breakfast this morning.
Joy,
right?
you know what warm hen do to a brother?
That's what I'm saying. Make sure you have something in your stomach.
Next thing you know,
I've seen what warm in does to a non-brother.
I'm about to
Hey.
start. I'm about to come up out of this green jacket like the Hawk.
Oh my God. Let's get
Here we go.
started with LeBron. He reportedly punched a whiteboard in the locker room after the Cavs lost game 1 and played the remaining 3 games with a bone contusion in his shooting hand. He averaged 34 points, 8.5 boards, and 10 assists in the series, but his scoring and field goal percentage all went down after game 1. LeBron showed up to the post-game press conference on Friday with a cast on his hand and talked about the incident. Let's take a listen.
What happened, self-inflicted, post-game after game 1, very emotional. For a lot of different reasons, understanding how important a game 1 is on the road for our ball club. What would that done for us? The way we played, the calls that was made throughout the course of that game. I had emotions on, the game was taken away from us. I had emotions of you just don't get an opportunity like this on the road versus Golden State to be able to get a game 1. And, I let the emotions get the best of me and pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So,
Shannon, how much of a pass do you give LeBron?
Well, I don't think he deserves a pass because the injury that he suffered was self-inflicted. And I can just imagine, the frustration. I'm thinking to myself, can you imagine looking at the frustration on his face, Skip, once Ty Lue tells him that they had a timeout and you see him slump in his seat. And you're thinking, wow, man, look at the frustration that he's putting on display in front of the world to see. I can imagine what it was going to be like behind closed doors. Well, we no longer have to imagine because he was so upset that he punched the chalkboard and he ended up breaking his hand. Now, I would have felt better if he put that hand upside JR head. Then I'd have had no problem with it, Skip Bayless. Okay, a little problem. Because we know somebody, we know somebody went around socking people all the time, don't we, Skip?
In practice?
Yeah, okay. Skip, he was always drawing dead. We saw what happened in the 51-8 ball game in the first game, and they lost in overtime. And even with a broken hand, he averaged 29, 11, and 8. So I think he should be commended for playing as well as he did. But something wasn't right, Skip. Something was not right. You're talking about a guy that went from can't miss up into game 1, going all the way back into Toronto series, Boston series, Indiana series, a guy that couldn't miss. All of a sudden, he couldn't buy a shot outside the paint. And he went from being 74%, finishing at the rim, all the way down to 59%. Like, huh? All of a sudden, LeBron can't finish. I'm wondering, why is he always trying to get to his left hand? Why is he always trying to lay the ball up on the left side? Even when he's on the right side of the rim, he's still trying to lay the ball up with his right hand. I'm like, well, okay, hey, God's best player. The guy's the best player in the NBA, so obviously he knows something that I don't know. But Skip, you look at this, he only took 14 shots outside of the paint over the last 3 games. Because you remember, you and I was talking about it, game 1, mid-range game, clicking, letting threes go, obviously finishing at the rim, and then all of a sudden he takes 11 3-pointers. So he got to the points game 2 through 4. It was either a 3-pointer or he was trying to get to the rim. There was nothing in between. And Golden State was like, hey, if you ain't gonna try the mid-range, we're just gonna we'll give you the 3, but we're not gonna let you get to the paint. And inserting JaVale McGee was a big deterrent in that. But I knew something wasn't right, Skip. Something just didn't seem right because I'm watching him. And I know LeBron James, and I've watched almost every game he's ever played. I've watched every dribble he's almost taken. Something wasn't right. And now it's starting to add up why all of a sudden he wouldn't do anything but drive the ball and shoot 3-point shots. Skip, I do not believe, let's just say for the sake of argument for this conversation, for this topic, LeBron James has an uninjured hand. I don't believe the final outcome would have been any different. But I do believe the numbers. Okay, so now instead of averaging 34, 10, and 9, he averages 38, 12, and 11. I believe the end result is the same. So I can't give him a pass because of the injury, because he caused the injury to himself. But don't let that fool you now, Skip. We know who still the best player on the planet is, even with a broken hand.
So I've got to clean up several things you just said.
Okay.
Number one, we're having to trust, because this came from LeBron and his inner circle, that he actually hit a chalkboard or whiteboard with his hand. So you're leaping all the way to the conclusion it was broken when he, in fact, did say, according to him and his insiders, that they did MRI it, and it was not broken. It was only a bruised hand. So
That's
can
not
we
what
at
he
least?
said.
No, he didn't say.
He said basically I played the game with a broken hand.
Okay, but that's basically because it wasn't broken. So he's saying that the pain was of a broken hand, but that the hand was not broken. Okay. So let's get that straight for the record. Okay. And now for my biggest picture takeaway, this is just pathetic and shameful for the best player on the planet, one of the greatest players ever. This doesn't deserve any pass. It deserves only ridicule. For him to come to the post-game media session and hold up a soft cast on his hand as a prop to sort of lead his blind witnesses down the path of, oh, LeBron deserves a pass and an excuse for stinking up the finals, that he stunk that finals up even worse than he did the 2011 finals in his first go-round with the Heat against the Dallas Mavericks. At least in that finals, they were up 2-1 when the chosen one turned into the frozen one. And in this one, after game 1, he and his team were just flat out pathetic. They were non-competitive. I've never seen anything quite like it from a player of LeBron's greatness. So I do not believe he had anything more than a bruised hand, if that. I do not believe, as he claimed, that he pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. I'm not buying any of that. I didn't see that at all. And
so you didn't notice any difference between game 1 and games 2, 3, and 4?
You know what I noticed? I noticed that LeBron James, at the end of regulation in game 1, quit on his team. I noticed that he threw a tantrum and basically threw in the towel while sitting on the bench in a way that no great leader ever would have. Any great leader, any Shannon Sharpe or Ray Lewis would have been trying to rally the troops at that point and say, we're starting fresh. It's 0-0. In game 1 at Oakland, we have them on the ropes. And instead, LeBron continued to pout all the way into the overtime, didn't even take a shot for the first 2:26 of overtime, when, by the way, his hand, according to him, was completely 100% okay then, because he slugged the whiteboard, according to him, after that game was over. And when he finally did take 4 half-hearted shots down the stretch of overtime, he missed all 4 of them, and they got blown off the floor 17-7 in overtime. I think he quit on his team. I think his team quit on him, and they were non-competitive.
What you mean quit on him?
I think they all just sort of threw up their hands and said, that's our leader? That's all we got?
Do you realize Kyle Korver made no shots after game one.
Yeah.
1 of 16 from the floor. Jeff Green was 29% from the floor. He was 21% from the three. So what do you mean they quit? When did they start? In order for you to quit something, you have to
They
start.
go as their leader goes, and he went completely south on them at the end of game one. You know it, and I
Okay,
know
let me
it.
ask you-
That was the series in a nutshell, right there on the bench that we got to
Okay.
see the extended footage of.
Prior to the overtime, he had gone 49, 8, and 8.
Oh, it was tremendous.
So
It was
where
great.
were they at then? You say they go as he go. He was going. So where were they then?
They were in position to close the deal and win the game.
No,
LeBron
he
James
was in
had the
position.
basketball in his hand with 7 seconds left, and little Steph Curry on him at the top of the circle. Close the deal. Take the do or die shot, the win or lose shot, a jump shot, like you just said. He was 7 of 14 outside the paint. I've never seen him shoot the ball better from distance in a big game than he had in game
Well,
one.
you make my point for me.
Okay,
You
just
saw-
shoot it.
Okay.
Shoot the shot.
Think about this, Skip.
And he passed to George Hill?
I-
Really?
I really appreciate you making my point for me, because guess what? He was 7 of 14 from the mid-range game in game one. He only attempted 11 mid-range shots, 2, 3, and 4. So you're making my point for me. I
No,
really appreciate that.
Here's the actual point. His inner circle has a history of leaking excuses to the media when he flames out in big playoff series, and it started all the way back in his first go-around in Cleveland, just before he took his talents to South Beach against the Boston Celtics. They were up 2-1, and chosen one went frozen one in games 4, 5, and 6. They lost all 3, and immediately inner circle leaked that LeBron had to be, and I'm just quoting what all the reporters said, had to be sedated before each of games 4, 5, and 6 because of a locker room issue with the team. Are you kidding me? I called out LeBron for that one, and I'm going to call him out for this excuse again this time.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. You say, okay, that got leaked, and it was his camp that put that information out. Now his camp doesn't put this out. He knows it's going to get out, because here's the thing. If he doesn't come to the press conference, or he doesn't acknowledge that he has an injured hand, what's going to happen is the same thing that happened after that 2010 loss. It's going to get out, and you're going to say, bull jive. So now it gets out.
Well, it got out of me within a couple of minutes after the game was over. It was leaked.
Because he's trying to get in front of the story. Because, Skip, he's not making any
story.
There is no excuse to be made. The Golden State Warriors have the better team. And even though they have the better team, he averaged 34, 11, and 9, and they still lost. Last year, he was 34, 12, and 10, and they still lost. So I don't believe, Skip, even if he doesn't break his hand, or if he doesn't injure his hand, or he doesn't have a bone bruise on the hand, I believe the end results would have been the same. But the fact of the matter is, it's just like Tom Brady. Tom Brady told you what happened, right?
Yeah, he was not ahead of it. He's just declaring, because the NFL actually has a strict injury policy under which you must declare your injuries. Now, Bill Belichick just
tried to skirt that system.
He just blows it apart. But again, if the NBA, this is pretty shameful and scary for the NBA now that gambling is so out there, and so readily available.
In some other states other than Vegas.
Huh?
In some other
That's
states
what I'm
other
saying.
than Vegas.
All of a sudden, we got a big NBA issue here because, at least with Iguodala, they kept saying he's doubtful, then he's questionable. With LeBron, if in fact he was hurt, why didn't you declare it? Why didn't you declare it right away? Say he's at least questionable for game 2.
In that situation, you do not let someone know, the opposing team know, hand. Because now you don't have to tell them which one. You only got 2. So they're going to be slapping. They're going to be hitting. Skip, if you notice, he never dunked the ball and grabbed the rim again. From that point on, from after game 1, everything he did, he laid the ball over in the rim.
Now, wait a second. I recall in game 3 that he passed to himself off the backboard and just slam dunked it, right? Mm-hmm. Both hands, right hand hard against the rim. If you have a quote-unquote broken hand, do you think you can get away with that?
Yeah, that was adrenaline pump.
Okay. Well, why didn't adrenaline pump through games 2, 3, and 4? I don't know.
Adrenaline ain't pumping.
And by the way, how did he make 22 of 27 free throws in games 2, 3, and 4 with a quote-unquote broken hand? Help me out on that one, because that's a hard shot too, because it's more of a finesse shot.
Yep.
How did he do that? Pure adrenaline. Okay, well then why didn't he play some defense in games 2, 3, and 4 on pure adrenaline? Do you need your right hand to play defense? I didn't see him play any defense.
Skip, you and I both know, if you watch the game, if you watch the way LeBron played from game one going back, and you look at the way he played from game two moving forward, he's not the same LeBron. You and I even talked about how he was not finishing over the top. LeBron was always able to finish over the top. Now, all of a sudden, he's finishing 20% lower at the rim than he did in games one, moving back the other way. Now, all of a sudden, he can't jump. Skip, there's something
did
wrong.
you see games 4, 5, and 6 against the Dallas Mavericks in the 2011 finals? You would say something's wrong. Maybe it's psychologically wrong.
No.
Maybe the pressure just eats him alive, and he's a
different guy then. You know that, I know that.
Well, I don't know.
He's not the same Skip. Even the staunchest LeBron haters will tell you LeBron James is not the same guy in 2011 he is today. There's no questions whatsoever about that. The MVPs, the 3 finals, said he's not the same players. The 2 MVPs says he's not the same player. The 7 straight All-NBAs says he's not the same player. So, Skip, he's not that player. You know that. I know that.
He just has a history of this in big moments, in big series, in big games. So I'm not surprised by it, but I don't want to hear another lame excuse for it.
When emotions are high, logic seems to be very low. His emotions were running rampant, given what had just happened. And so he let it, and as he said, I let my emotions get the best of me. That's what happened to him, Skip. At that point in time, he wasn't thinking clearly, because if he had been thinking clearly, they ask him why he never gets into a tussle or get thrown out of the game. I'm worth more to my team in the game than being tossed out of the game. So at that point in time, it didn't really dawn on him. I'm more important having a healthy right hand than punching this blackboard and not having one. It happens, Skip. He's not the first guy to get frustrated. We've seen guys in baseball, do things and hurt their pitching hand or hurt their pitching shoulder. We've seen that. So LeBron is not unique in this instance.
So, if his hand was pretty much broken, why at the end of Game 4, as they were swept, was there cell phone video captured of LeBron, if we could see that, going through his elaborate handshake and hand slap with his 2 sons near the bench? I mean, wouldn't that just be so painful? He's doing the whole thing. Wait. How could you do that?
You touch your fingers.
Okay,
get that video.
And then you need to put a soft cast on for the media? Are you kidding me?
If you don't mind,
I'm calling baloney on that.
If you don't mind me asking, when he was exiting the court with a little over 4 minutes, tell me how he touched KD. How did he touch Steph Curry? How did he touch Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Draymond? Did he do it with his right hand or did he do it with his left hand?
I have no idea.
I
don't really care.
Exactly. Of course not.
Because I saw the elaborate bang, bang, bang with his kids.
No, it wasn't.
If you had
fingers.
the equivalent of a broken hand, you'd be like, ah! And then you have to put on a soft cast.
Whoa!
Shannon, wait a second. The season is over. What do you need to put the cast on after the game for? It's done. It's a prop. You know it, and I know it. The prop came off when he drove home. Want to bet?
It was reported that he was wearing this soft cast anytime the media wasn't around.
Yeah.
If you notice when he did his interviews, his right hand was always in his lap. It never touched the top of the table. Do you remember that, Skip Bayless? So just go back and look and see at any point in time after the game or during the press conference before the game, did you see his right hand on the table or anywhere? Of course not.
Oh, that cinches it.
No.
That closes the case.
Skip.
Even ESPN had a shot of LeBron's hand hanging down by his side, his right hand versus his right hand before and after, and I couldn't really tell much difference. Like it was swollen.
You might need to get new. You might need to get new LASIK or HDTV.
I guess so. So, what did the greatest player ever in any sport, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, once say about injuries? If you put on the uniform, you're 100%. And what did Michael Jeffrey Jordan do ahead of the pivotal Game 5 in 1997? 2-2 at Utah.
He had the
flu. No, he didn't have the flu. He contracted food poisoning, obviously vomiting, dehydrated, and he said, I'm putting the uniform on, I'm 100%. Nearly passed out in the first quarter from dehydration. Toughed it out, kept going, brought them from 8 down in the fourth quarter and hit the clinching 3 with 30 seconds left as they stole that game by 2 and went ahead 3-2 in the series, and it was over. Another classic game, because when you put the uniform on, you just figure out how to win the game.
I've always said that. I said anytime you put the uniform
That is
on,
correct.
all they do is see the name on the back.
Yep.
They don't know what it took for you to get to that point. So they expect, if you're a great player, they expect to see greatness anytime you're on the floor, the field, the diamond, the tennis court, the golf course. That's what fans expect to see. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't injured. That doesn't mean he wasn't hurt. Skip, I don't believe, so what? Okay, he doesn't hurt the hand. He averages a triple-double, and he's somewhere around 30 to 40 points a night. All it is delaying the inevitable. Nothing changes. He's not saying that even with the injured hand, he's 28, 11, and 9. 28, 11, and 9 with a bruised or a bone bruise or contusion, however you want to label it.
Hey, even with the bruised hand, he made 2 of 4 threes in game 2. And then I don't know what happened after that. I don't know.
He wasn't the same. He wasn't the same. If he took 11 mid-range, I mean, think about it. Hey, games 2, 3, and 4, it's basically a three-pointer or if I'm trying to get to the basket. And you go back, I want people to go back and look at it and see how many times LeBron is trying to get to that left hand. Even on the right side of the basket, he's trying to lay the ball up with his left hand.
So you brought up Tom Brady, and again, there is greatness personified, right? Number 12, greatest quarterback ever. So ahead of the AFC Championship game, for however he did it, he suffered a 12-stitch gash in the base of his throwing thumb. That's tough for a quarterback. So what did he do in the fourth quarter against Jacksonville? Threw for another, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, brought them back miraculously once again to beat Saxonville. Remember that?
Yeah.
So
well.
that's, you just suck it up and figure out how to do this under those conditions, right?
Okay.
So
he sucked it up. He played skill. But you do realize they had 2 guys in double figures. LeBron at 34, Kevin Love at 19. And then everybody else was 8, 9. What's he supposed to do with that? Because you do realize in 96, the year they went 72 and 10, can you tell the people at home how many teammates Michael Jordan had in double figures?
I have no idea.
Besides himself, he had 3. Tony Kukoc, Scottie Pippen, and good old Luke Longley. Also in 98, the year you talking about, do you realize 3 of the top, all defensive, first team Jordan, that's 5 players. Do you know the Bulls had 3 of them? Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen.
Michael Jordan at age 34, a year older than LeBron, made first-team all-defense. And then in the closeout game 6, greatest game he ever played, he had only 1 other teammate in double figures.
LeBron almost.
Interesting.
LeBron almost topped Jordan's 92 season, Skip. The only difference is that was year 8 for Michael. This year,
We're
year
going to
10
leave it
for
there.
Bron.
Where will LeBron take his talents next season? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Let's move on to LeBron. His Cavs were swept in the finals, and now the focus is on where he'll play next season. LeBron was asked Friday if Game 4 was his last with the Cavs and said, quote, "I have no idea at this point." Over the weekend, his former teammate Dwayne Wade gave his opinion on LeBron's decision. Take a listen.
I think at this point in his life, it's more so of a lifestyle thing of, where my family going to be the most comfortable at, where I'm going to be the happiest at. Because basketball-wise, he's so great, he can bring along and take along whoever.
Shannon, what does this tell you?
I know a lot of people are reading into it, Skip, is telling him that he's going to L.A. But for me, LeBron is about winning first and foremost. He made that abundantly clear. I'm still in championship mode. Who presents the best opportunity? Who presents him with the best chance to compete and win titles? Now, for me, lifestyle, that's what you're working for now, that when you're done, you have the opportunity to enjoy a great lifestyle. Skip, he lives in L.A. How often is he actually going to be home? You do know 41 games a year, 41 times a year, you're on the road. There are a lot of times you might go 3, 4, 5 days and you don't see that home. News flash for everybody. In basketball, they do play indoors. Now, in football, you talk about, oh, man, I want to be in a nice warm, I want to be in Miami, or I want to be in L.A. That's one thing compared to Lambeau, Soldier Field, or Cleveland, Pittsburgh. That's one thing. But Skip, who presents the best opportunity? Because that's where LeBron James is going to be happy. I don't care if it's 365 days a year and it's 80 degrees with no humidity. Let him be losing and see how happy he is, and then see how that trickles down to his family. Now, all things being equal, Miami is a great lifestyle.
It is.
But that's not conducive for him winning a title. Where can he go? Or where can he recruit people to go and help him win a title? But here's the kicker, Skip. What LeBron needs to understand, in order for you to put the team together that you think can get to and compete and win a title, somebody's going to have to take less dollars, because that's what Kevin Durant did. Kevin Durant took $10 million last year less than what he could have gotten, so they could bring back Sean Livingston, so they could bring back Andre Iguodala, and they could make sure they give Steph Curry the max. Someone is going to have to be willing to sacrifice. So you have to ask yourself, what's more important to you, LeBron, getting max dollars or winning another 1, 2, or 3 titles? Because if it's max dollars, I really don't know where he can go and get the type of people to come with him that can win a title. Because you hear Chris Paul saying he wants max dollars. Well, James Harden is already on a max dollar contract.
Correct.
LeBron says he'll never play for anything less than max. 3 max on one team doesn't work.
You have 3 starters, and you play 3 on 5,
so
right?
No, they need to go to cube thing, that 3 on 3.
Well, maybe
they
they
tear
could
that
probably
up.
win that.
Yeah, they tear that up.
They might.
But if you go play NBA, you need 5, and you better get 3 or 4 guys on the bench that can come up and help.
Okay, so if you are discounting what Dwayne Wade says about LeBron's lifestyle choice,
Yes.
your gut feeling tells you if he is now in championship mode, he will pick who?
For me, if I'm LeBron James, my first choice would probably be Boston. My second choice,
That's if Kyrie would sign with the Knicks,
Knicks.
Or stay.
Kyrie wants to be. See, Kyrie is unhappy because Jason Tatum, he still won't be able to be the guy. Kyrie wants to be the de facto guy.
Okay.
Okay, so Boston would be number 1.
Okay, but you're saying without Kyrie.
Without Kyrie.
Okay, got it.
Number 2 would be San Antonio.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So back to Dwayne Wade. I go back and forth on how close, and you may have some insight into this, but how close Dwayne and LeBron really and truly are. Because I'm going to remind you, LeBron in the 11th hour after the 2014 season, he left Dwayne high and dry in Miami, right?
Yes.
And it was a shocker to everybody, including Dwayne, that LeBron went home. I'm coming home, right?
Yes.
And then at the trade deadline, very quietly, I'm assuming LeBron blessed the move of Dwayne going back to Miami, right?
Right.
So as much as I believe that LeBron missed Dwayne down the stretch and in the playoffs, it seemed like LeBron didn't have a big issue with letting Dwayne go for what was it, a second-round pick in 2024?
Yeah.
So basically they just said, here,
You can
go
have it.
home,
Yes.
or go back to Miami.
Correct.
So I go back and forth on how close Dwayne keeps in touch with LeBron. Is he just saying that from a distance, or does he have inside information? Because if he has inside information, then I'm going to rank these differently. I would say my teams in order are L.A., Miami, and then maybe Cleveland still on lifestyle, because LeBron is from Akron and Savannah's from Akron, right?
And that's my thing, Skip. 29 of his 33 years have been spent where?
Okay.
So what's the lifestyle? So you're very...
So I would think that's still an appealing lifestyle
exactly.
to them.
But I think the biggest thing is he has these 2 homes here in Brentwood.
Okay, and to that point, I know a lot of people over on that side of the 405. Brentwood is a very exclusive area. You could argue it's the best high-end area in Los Angeles. A lot of people love it because it's closer to the ocean than Bel Air or the upper Beverly Hills, right? So he bought 1 home in in Brentwood that he's hanging on to, probably just because it's a great investment, because real estate here just keeps skyrocketing.
Yeah, I'm hoping to come down at some point.
I'm right there with you.
I keep hoping.
But the point is that he already upgraded about 2 blocks up the hill in Brentwood and bought another bigger mansion. To what end? Another investment? Maybe. I don't know. They're going to winter here. Summer it would be. It feels like summer all the time here. But the point is is it possible that he wants to, quote unquote, just semi-retire? Not that he wouldn't play hard, but again, he would accept whatever he could bring to the Lakers. Would it be Paul George? Could he manage to get CP3 under this salary cap with him? And then what would happen to Lonzo? Would they trade Lonzo? I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure Magic would go along with trading Lonzo.
How do you, let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, you could get CP3 and Paul George. What are you going to do with Lonzo?
I don't know.
That
you'd have to move him.
What are you going to do with Ingram and Kuzma? And all these guys, these guys are like, hold on, I've been 2 years, I've been getting better and better year after year. I'm not trying to be playing no 20 minutes a night.
Yep. I don't know. Would LeBron want his sons to go to high school in Southern California? I don't know, maybe. Would Savannah, does she prefer Southern California to Akron where she grew up? I don't know.
She seems to me like an Akron girl.
Well, could be.
Not a girl, but a lady
I
now.
know.
Because here's the thing. She was so gung-ho.
Yep.
She was so happy. Skip, because think of when they first went to Miami, she was unhappy that LeBron moved her family down. So she would have someone to be close to while he was at work and when he was on the road. She was super duper ecstatic to go back. That's home for her. They love it that, look, Skip, LeBron went back there. Now he can say, hey, I went back because I want to do something for my city. But he loves Akron too. That's why he's so heavily invested in the community. So this lifestyle for me, that's secondary. The number one thing that is weighing on LeBron James's mind is championship. And not just the championship, Skip. He just doesn't want one. He wants to beat that team that's beaten him 3 out of the last 4 years. He wants to take that team down.
Okay, so what's the quickest path to do that? I don't see an obvious one. To take that, to dethrone the Golden State Warriors, I'm not sure. Let's do Houston, where you'd have to take them down in, let's say, the conference finals. Okay, if you join forces with CP3, who says, as you point out, he wants the max, James Harden making the max, you would have to gut that team. You're going to lose Capella. You're going to lose Eric Gordon, probably P.J. Tucker. I don't know what you could mix and match and come up with, but I don't think you would wind up with enough to take down the Golden State Warriors.
Well, and first of all, and then how do you get rid of Ryan Anderson 2 years, $40 million?
You don't.
I believe Boston have the pieces.
Okay.
If you could somehow keep Horford and Tatum, if you can keep those pieces, Rozier, maybe Brown, you have some nice pieces there. But Kawhi, because here at one point in time, Skip, when are we going to be able to say, you know what? LeBron James has never gone into a series and said, you know what? I have the best coach on my sideline.
Okay, he could do that with Boston. I would agree.
He can do that in San Antonio.
Could do that in San Antonio. I'm not sure my Spurs, even with LeBron and what you would have to jettison, like Houston, that you would have enough. And I don't know what Kawhi's, feelings are, if the bridge is burned, if that would rebuild the bridge.
$219 for him.
Yeah.
That max contract is $219.
Yeah.
You have LaMarcus making about 27, little 25, 27 a year. Again, it goes back to this. The reason why Golden State was able to do what they did, Kevin Durant took about $10 million.
He did.
Now, agents in the NFL and NFLPA, the Players Association, Skip, they don't like that because that's a trickle-down effect. Because the owners think, well, if you got these mega superstars taking less money, you think I'm about to give you max dollars? And so that's a trickle-down effect. And so Players Association, regardless of the league, frown upon players taking that kind of haircut. But Kevin Durant says, I want to win. He gets the max. They can't keep Livingston. They can't keep Iggy. They can't keep some of these guys, the David West. So he's like, you know what? I'll make it up in another way.
They kept Iggy because he did that. And that was a big
and
move.
Sean Livingston.
Yeah. Key pieces.
Yes.
Very key.
So that's what it's going to come down to. How bad do you want to win championships? Because if it's about making LeBron, when you retire, if you've made $600 million and you stay on 3 championships as opposed to 550 with 5 championships, really $50 million is going to make that big of a difference to you?
I still say you have ignored Cleveland in the East, and I still say LeBron would want to stay in the East because it's still an easier path to the
all
finals.
things being equal, Skip, he would rather be in Cleveland.
Yep.
But who can he attract?
Okay.
But they got...
Okay, but Philly, you got those 2 young studs, and what they provide is not so much offense as defense. Those are 2 stud rim protectors. They man the paint. They control the paint. Those 2 guys are coming as superstars. You know it, and I know it. And I think they could retain a lot of their sharpshooters.
What am I going to do with Ben Simmons? He's not turning into Klay Thompson. Same complexion, but not the same shot selection.
Yeah, okay. I got it. But you know what? He can really move the basketball, and LeBron would appreciate his IQ. And obviously, he's a client of LeBron's agency. So I think it would be a fine fit for LeBron.
Well, LeBron says he wants to play off the ball. We've never seen LeBron play exclusively off the ball.
I don't know. Maybe it's time.
I,
Well, maybe they could cover for LeBron on defense in his old age in the NBA more than other teams could.
I can't tell, Leo. I can't tell. Can you tell? No, you couldn't.
I can tell on defense. Even you admitted he has to rest on defense now.
Yeah, he's resting. But he cooking folks on offense.
Okay. Well, maybe this would be the perfect fit. Just let him go and do his thing, and Ben Simmons can just facilitate.
Well, this what? My grandma used to say, boy, watch them pops. I'm about to lay down and take a nap. Mm-hmm. So, hey, LeBron said, well, I'm cooking folks on offense. Y'all watch that on defense. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a nap.
And he could install maybe David Griffin as the new GM. He could control the franchise because they just had to jettison their GM.
All that control, I don't care nothing about no control. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get me 5 championships. How do I get me 5 championships in the next 3 years? That's what I'm concerned about. I don't care if we got to play in Siberia. If they got an NBA team over there, we'll play there. But I want to come back and I want to beat the Warriors in the finals to let them know they don't have my number. They got it right now, but I'm about to change my number.
Well, I mean, hopefully LeBron realizes at this point that whole control thing is not really actually reality.
Yeah.
I mean, for a little bit amount of time, they'll give you what you want, but I'm pretty sure they did fire David Griffin and they did trade Kyrie Irving. So
and they didn't trade that.
The idea of having some control over the franchise is an illusion.
And they didn't trade that pick to get DeAndre Jordan.
Exactly. So, but remember, LeBron does have a young daughter now. And his oldest son is going to be moving into his high school age, playing basketball. So wherever it is that he ends up is likely going to be the end of his moves for that reason exactly.
No mercy.
Next up, Kevin Durant was named Finals MVP for his 2nd straight year. His main competition was Steph Curry, but Durant got 7 of the 11 MVP votes. KD averaged 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 7.5 assists in the finals and scored a playoff career-high 43 in Game 3. So, Shannon, what did Durant prove in the finals?
He didn't prove anything to me. We already knew he was the best player on the Warriors. We knew he could take and make big shots. We saw it last year. So for me, all he did was prove what I already knew, that Kevin Durant is the 2nd best player in the NBA. That's what he is. And I don't have a problem with Kevin Durant winning the Finals MVP, Skip, because his worst game was a 26-9. Everybody saw Game 3, what Kevin Durant did, 43, 13, and 7. And Steph Curry was 3 of 16, scored 11 points. And Kevin Durant, Skip, tried to do everything he possibly could to get Steph Curry the MVP. He played off the ball. He's like, hey, Steph, you bring the ball up. And in the process of trying to give Steph Curry the MVP, he gave himself a triple-double and won the MVP. So the voters are looking like, hold on. We just see this guy go 43, 13, and 7, and then in Game 4, when they blow him off the court, he gets a triple-double. Nothing for me, Skip. Everything I see Kevin Durant do, I'm not surprised. He's a 7-foot monster. He can shoot the ball over anybody, and when they started switching early in the game, Skip, they say basketball players, they practice when they're growing up, they practice shooting over chairs, shooting over brooms. Well, if you got George Hill on you, he's shooting over a chair. If you got JR on you, he's shooting over a chair. And you let him get a rhythm, he's going to be hell to deal with for the rest of the ball game. So Kevin Durant proved to me he's great. He's heading toward, and as he said, I'm about to have me a chair when Magic and Jordan and LeBron and Kareem and Bird, all these guys talking about championships and great players. Hey, I'm at that table now. So for me, Kevin Durant just showed me what I already knew about him. He's the 2nd best player in the NBA. We know who number 1 is, Skip. There's no doubt. If you left this finals thinking that Kevin Durant all of a sudden has passed LeBron James as the best player in the NBA, you watched something else other than what I watched.
This is what I watched, and I always just say what I see on TV. I saw, for the 2nd straight year, Kevin Durant prove that he's better than LeBron James when it matters most. I'll give you the regular season offense, whatever, but all around, when it matters most, Kevin Durant was better than LeBron James. He's a better shooter than LeBron, and he proves it in the biggest moments because he's definitely a better clutch shooter and scorer than LeBron at this stage of LeBron's life. He's a better defender than LeBron because I thought he defended LeBron very well. And he took him for much of the first 3 games. I know Iggy sort of got back in the rotation in Game 4, so they switched that up a little bit more. But for the most part, in this series, Kevin Durant took LeBron James. And you see the numbers. Maybe it was a bruised hand. Maybe it was Kevin Durant. Maybe it was a little bit of both. But Kevin Durant deserves some credit for what he did to LeBron in Games 2, 3, and 4 defensively. And then just big games, fourth quarter games. We just saw back-to-back Game 3s, the pivotal game of these series. You know it, and I know it. In the first game a year ago, Game 3 at Cleveland, these are both in LeBron's house. Cleveland is up 6 with 3 minutes left and gets blown off the floor 11-0 down the stretch. This year they were up 1 with 3 minutes left and lost down the stretch 14-5. That had everything to do with Kevin Durant and very little to do with LeBron James because Kevin Durant took over those 2 fourth quarters. He was much better in the fourth quarters than LeBron was. So he keeps out-dueling LeBron, back-to-back Game 3s, back-to-back seasons, finals, in his house. And he wins MVP, which he deserved both times in the finals. So all I can tell you is what I saw. And I saw that Kevin Durant was much better than LeBron James with all the chips pushed to the middle of the table.
Can I ask you, if you don't mind me asking, I just want to make sure, is this the hill you want to stand on to make that argument?
I just stood on it.
Okay.
And I'm screaming from the mountaintop of it.
Can you tell me what Steph Curry was doing in Games 1 and 2?
He's good, but who was the man? Who won MVP deservedly so?
Whoa,
Yeah.
no, Skip.
Yeah.
I'm not debating whether or not he should have won. I said he should have won. He had 43, 13, and 7, and he had a triple-double in Game 4. But I'm asking you, in Games 1 and 2, when Steph Curry goes for
he was
29
good.
and Steph Curry goes for
He was good.
NBA record, Joy, 9 3-pointers in game.
But Game 1, the Cavs should have won, right?
What did Steph Curry do? Who in the first 2 games? Who was the leading scorer?
Steph Curry in overtime of Game 1 scored 0. Really?
Kevin Durant scored 2.
You want to stand on that hill?
And guess what? In overtime, Steph Curry had 0 points, and he still had more points than Kevin Durant. In Game 2, what happened, Skip? An NBA record, 9 3-pointers. That was the difference in the ball game.
But the turning point game was Game 3, up 1 in LeBron's house. And who took that game over with 43 points? Who made all the key shots of the finals? Kevin Durant made the key shots.
If you remember,
Steph scored a bunch of points. I'll give you that.
Game 1, the Cavs was up at 1 point, 13 points. And then there was a shot from damn near half court. Somebody hit that shot to get it to 3.
Yep.
Who did that, Skip?
He's a good player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that's
But he's not even in this conversation. We're talking about, you said, the 2 best players on the planet, right?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And you
that
know,
the one is there's no question.
It was interesting because you made the point that Kevin kept trying to defer to get Steph
He
back
did.
in it. I really respect that. I admire that because Kevin Durant said after Game 4 that it's actually harder to be great on a great team than it is to be great on a bad team. Because on a great team, you're trying to keep everybody happy, and so your touches are more limited, your opportunities are more limited, yet when push comes to shove, that great team, these Warriors, would turn to Kevin in crunch time, in key turning point moments, and say, you do it.
Yeah, but what the luxury that Kevin doesn't have is that because you're on a great team, you can have an off night. When you're on a team like LeBron James, there is no off night and you win the ball game. Because clearly in Game 1, KD was off. He played better in Game 2, but Steph Curry went bonkers from the three-point line. So let's look. I know what Kevin Durant's trying to say here. He's trying to throw a little, yeah, I might be the second best player, but if I was on a bad team. Even when you was in OKC, you couldn't see LeBron James with the Hubble telescope, and you still can't see him.
Yeah,
So
but to your point about LeBron back in the 2011 finals,
Yes.
he was just a child, basically.
No,
he
he
hadn't
was-
figured it
no, no,
out
no,
yet.
no, 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 he
So
was-
was Kevin in Oklahoma City.
No, Skip. No, I'm not. I didn't say LeBron was a child.
Well, you said he had no scar tissue.
No,
he hadn't gone through it yet.
I'm saying he wasn't the player then that he is now. You know that. I know that. Skip, they was like 10 feet. They were daring LeBron to shoot anything outside the paint.
I've seen a new guy in Kevin Durant since he left Russell Westbrook. He's just different.
Okay.
I didn't think he had this in him. In 2 straight years, he had this in him.
Yeah. Think about this. LeBron James with 6 rebounds again from averaging a triple-double. He had 34, 11, and 9. Last year, he was 34, 12, and 10, and KD shut him down. Really? Is that the mountain you want to stand on and yell that?
Yeah, I do, because he bothered him. Maybe it's his hand, I don't know, but you kept telling me LeBron wasn't the same. Maybe LeBron couldn't attack the basket because he had that 7-foot monster on him. Thought about that?
What was that 7-foot monster? Because he guarded him the most of the time in game one. He had 43 trips on LeBron James when LeBron went 51, 8, and 8. So where was he then? Did he shrink?
No, LeBron had arguably his greatest game ever, certainly shooting the ball from outside, until the moment of the game, the turning point of that game, and he went south.
He didn't go south.
That's LeBron.
He made the right play. And even with the injured hand, the severity of the injury, we may never know. He was still 28, 11, and 9. Tell me the player in NBA history that wouldn't take 28, 11, and 9 for a season.
Well, I told you for a season you could make a case, open and shut case that LeBron's a better player.
Go poll 30 general managers.
Okay.
Right now. And I guarantee you.
I don't care what they say. I care what I saw. And I saw Kevin Durant for the second straight year be better than LeBron when it counted. You know it, and I know it.
See, I don't look at just highlights.
Highlights?
Highlights.
This is the moments of the season. This is where the whole season swings one way or the other. We talk and talk from October on about this season, and then it's going to swing in Game 3, and Kevin Durant takes over another Game 3.
I sure wish LeBron would have had a guy that could have gave him 27, 6, and 6 like Steph.
Well,
or
guess
give
what?
him 16 points a game.
How do you explain this? For the 4 games, the Cavaliers out-rebounded Golden State by 26 rebounds over 4 games. No rebounds, no rings, said Pat Riley. So, LeBron, you got 26 more rebounds thanks to some help, thanks to Kevin Love, thanks to Tristan Thompson.
Skip, here's the thing.
Wow,
okay,
interesting.
The thing is, if you get those rebounds, what do you do? If you get the rebound and you go out and you miss the shot, what have you done? That's what. Look at their field goal percentage. Look at their three-point percentage. That's why they lost. You look at the guy. Skip. Jeff Green averaged 5. Hold on. Let me see what Jeff Green averaged. Jeff Green averaged what? 5 points a game. Kyle Korver averaged 1.5 points a game. One of the greatest shooters. He made 0 shots from the field after game 1. He 1 of 11 from the 3.
Help me out. What was LeBron in that Game 4? You got that stat sheet.
Game 4?
Took a grand total of 13 shots?
Yes.
Is it possible he just went into his psychological shell that he goes into like a turtle?
And I was asking myself the question, Skip. I'm like, LeBron, because at one point he's like at 9 shots. I say, LeBron, you need to be triple that. You need to be 27. Because think about it, Skip. He goes 32. And every game after that, lower, field goal attempts. You don't think that's
Melt down.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
Melt down. It's a meltdown.
Don't do that.
I think it's
Man,
happened right before
11
your
and
very
9.
eyes.
6 rebounds short of a triple-double again in the NBA Finals.
But he had to wear a hand cast after the game.
Speaking of 6 in the NBA Finals, does LeBron have any chance of catching Jordan after getting swept? We'll discuss that next.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
No mercy.
We've debated all season who the GOAT is, LeBron or Michael Jordan. LeBron and his Cavs were swept in the finals, putting his finals record at 3-6. And as you know, Jordan was a perfect 6 for 6 in the finals. So, Shannon, how much was LeBron's case damaged after losing in the finals?
I don't think his case was damaged at all. I think it was highlighted over the course of what he's done over this playoff run. This team had no business even being in the finals. They were the number 4 seed, so there were 3 teams better. He took down the 1 and the 2 seed in order to get there. He was a ginormous underdog. The biggest underdogs in 16, 17 years. You look at what he was able to do over this postseason. He averaged 34, 9, and 9. He had 2 buzzer beaters, 8, which was the tie for Jerry West for the most 40-point games, 4 triple dubs. He swept the number 1 seed in Game 6 and 7. He beat a Boston Celtics team who had not lost in the playoffs at home. And then he had to go back and not go back, but he did that in a Game 7. We know the history of the Celtics and Game 7s in that building. LeBron James.
How about the history of this Celtics team?
Whoa. So that is what you were talking about. Well, so why they keep showing it? So if that's the case, I don't want to see any more stats about what happened in Game 7, regardless, because it didn't happen to that team. If that's what we're doing now, that's not what we're doing, Skip. Don't try to undercut my argument. Let me make it. And then when you get your opportunity, you try to poke holes in my argument.
I'm going to blow holes in your argument.
Average 40.5, 13-9, game 6 and 7 against the Boston Guard. The second most points in a playoff run, Skip. Did you know that? He did that in year 15. Michael Jordan did it in year 8. If you don't mind me asking, can you tell the people at home in year 15 what Michael Jordan was doing?
It's not my turn.
Okay.
It's your turn. What do you got in there, more hints?
Woo!
You don't need it to make this argument.
Hey, they say brand is dandy, but liquor's quicker, Joy. You know what? Let me tell you. I'm gonna
No
tell you.
candy is dandy.
No, I'm gonna tell you what Michael was doing. Michael's on the Wizards, going a grand total of 37 and 45.
Now you got to reach for the Wizards at age 39 and 40.
That's year 15.
Lame.
Year 15. So
Weak.
I think what he was able to do, going to 8 straight finals, like I said, some people, a la you, and these haters, which is a lot of
Truth
them,
tellers.
no matter what LeBron does, LeBron could have won this game, won this series, and they'd still say he's not better because Michael is 6-0. But I don't just look at rings because they tell him, well, you use the argument, everybody just says ring, ring, rings. Well, Bill Russell is the greatest there if we're just going to use ring, ring, rings. We got to look at the totality of this. And so for me, Hurt, he was all ready to go. So nothing changed in my mind. Absolutely nothing.
Wasn't LeBron and company, weren't they favored to win the East this year? I think they were. Going into the playoffs, I think they were favored.
No.
Right? Yes. Believe they were.
Philly.
Shannon Sharp,
What?
I'm going to try to save you from your self-delusion
I don't
that
need
you
no-
get out of that glass.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, sip out of. It's time to burn the goat mask. You
Nope.
got to get rid of it.
I ain't getting rid of it.
I'm sorry, it is OVER, over. It
Nope.
is null and it is void and it is defunct.
Not true.
It is disqualified by
what?
Just on epic fails alone. So now LeBron James has been swept twice in the finals. That's ugly. That's a bad look. And now he's had 2 shameful freeze-ups in the finals, 2011 versus Dallas NBA Finals, and this finals. And
So you saying he froze up in this final?
I think he did. I think the pressure got to him, and he just finally
Really,
succumbed to the pressure, just the way he did near the end of Game 7 at home against Indiana in round 1 of these playoffs when he had to just take it to the locker room for 5 minutes and just sort of
Sick.
compose himself. You know, he was sick. And I'm not even going to mention that 2010 final series as the first go-round with the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, after which his owner, Dan Gilbert, accused him of quitting versus those Celtics. He did.
Why do you do that? Why do you take what somebody else said? You say
I'm
you don't
just
care
saying,
what somebody's saying.
Did anybody ever accuse Michael Jordan of quitting in a playoff series? I don't think so. I wasn't around to hear any of that.
Well, the Boston Celtics made him quit.
Oh, okay.
He played hard, but he still. Well,
When
he
they-
didn't play hard in Game 3.
When Larry Bird called him God disguised as Michael Jordan and he quit? I
If
don't
somebody
think
beat
so.
God, I couldn't. How you let that happen?
So, LeBron's Heat team was blown off the floor in an NBA Finals by a record margin in 2014 by the Spurs, and it took the greatest clutch shot in the history of NBA playoffs by Ray Allen to cancel out and save LeBron's legacy after he turned it over 3 times in the last 3 minutes of Game 6 in 2013 and then missed what would have been the tying 3-point shot to get them to overtime. And you know the rest of the story. We had Chris Bosh on last week, flipped it to Ray Allen in the corner, boom. And that saved his legacy right there, or he would now be 2-7 in the finals. But he has fallen to 3-6, so he now has as many finals losses as Michael Jordan had wins, as Joy pointed out, 6-0 with 6 MVPs. And do I need to go down the list again just to drive home to you what happened during regular seasons when Michael won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1? And Michael had 9 first-team all-defenses to LeBron's 6, which is impressive, but it's not 9 because Michael Jordan led this league in steals 3 times to LeBron's none.
But here's the thing, and normally guards do lead the league in steals, so that's not an anomaly.
Well, LeBron's a guard.
No, he's not. He's a forward. He's
really?
a 3. That's what he's listed as.
He's
a
actually
great.
a point guard.
No, you can label it. Well, he's a jack of all trades. But
okay.
here's the thing, Skip. You keep harping on LeBron and what he hasn't done, but you fail to mention that Jordan in these finals had 3 other guys to average double figures. 3. He had 2 other guys that were first team all defensive. 2. Other than him, there's only 5 guys that can make first team all NBA, and 3 of them is on one team. You do realize in that 98, which you heap about, Tony Kukoc averaged 15 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Kukoc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at Game 6 at Utah. Pivotal.
But, Skip,
Got to win it.
A series is not just one game. See, I love how you do that. See, if LeBron plays bad, you'll point to one game. I'm talking about
These are the pivotal games. The whole series swings on this game.
Hold on, I thought you said Game 3 were pivotals.
They were. For Kevin Durant, he took over the two pivotal games.
Which is it Game 3 or Game 6?
Well,
or
obviously,
the game that Kevin Durant hit the shot, or the game that LeBron misses the shot. I'm just trying to figure that out.
The old way was 2-3-2. So obviously in 1998, when it's 3-2 Chicago going back to Utah for not one game but two games, you better win Game 6 because I don't think you can beat those guys in Game 7.
If you don't mind me asking, they were up 3-1. Why would they have to go back to Utah?
Because he stunk up Game 6. See, I'm the first of 5. Game 5. You read my column. I just crushed him. Didn't I crush him in that column?
But I want to know why.
I just crushed him.
But Skip,
but he bounced right back in Game 6 and had the game of his life.
Should have been
and it
no
was only
bounce back.
2 nights later. You don't get 3 nights off in those days, like LeBron got 3 nights off.
God in gym shoes shouldn't need a reprieve.
No, he didn't.
You're at home.
Yeah.
You got to close the deal. So what happened? So you mean to tell me at some point in time, Michael Jordan wasn't always perfect?
Well, that was the one imperfect game. That's what I wrote in that column. He was human that night.
You do realize that in Game 6, when they closed out Seattle, he was 6 of 19 from the floor.
Yeah, but they still closed out. And was he the MVP of the series?
But I'm Skip.
They had him on the ropes.
Skip, that's my point.
But the
I'm trying
pivotal game was this game at Utah, and he played his greatest game. He scored 45 of their 87 points.
But Skip, stop doing that. Because you know back then teams didn't get to 110, 115
Okay,
like they do now.
45 of 87, that's more than half their points were scored by this guy.
And he took more than half the shots.
Okay, but you keep telling me what a load LeBron has to carry, the heaviest load ever. Baloney. This guy carried the heaviest load because he was the shot maker.
Skip, he had 2 other first-team all-defensive players on his roster.
He led the playoffs 6 times in usage rate. How much you have the ball in your hands, dribbling it or shooting it, creating shots. 6 times. LeBron has led the playoffs 1 time in usage rate.
Okay, he got
1 time.
If you don't mind me asking, okay, he had the ball in his hand. So those last 3 years, the usage rate was extremely high. If he has the ball in his hand so much, why didn't he lead the team in assists?
Well, how about this? Playoff assists. LeBron has averaged 7 through his playoff career. Michael averaged 6. So it's 7-6 in playoff assists.
But see,
wow.
Joy, if that was one game, he'd have a legitimate argument. But you multiply that times 240, now you can see the difference in where
I don't know. That's pretty close to me.
Skip, stop.
Well, I'm starting.
Well, Century City and Westwood is close.
Well,
But I ain't trying to walk it. Now, yeah.
Ernestine walks that all.
Well, bless her heart. Well, I ain't walking it. It's too hot out there for me.
Yeah.
Skip,
So look, here's what ended this discussion. Was the meltdown LeBron suffered at the end of regulation of Game 1 this year. I've never seen anything like that from a superstar leader of a team. You know it and I know it. You won't admit it publicly, but it just crushed your soul to see your man react that way.
No, it crushed my soul to see JR melt down like that. Yeah,
it's still 0-0 going to overtime of Game 1 at Oracle.
Skip,
you got him right where you want him, and LeBron just threw in the psychological towel.
Here's the thing. You and I both
You're
know.
out. You're disqualified.
You and I both know all overtime situations are not created equal. Had someone hit a shot to get the game.
You know what? They are created equal. I don't care what you tell me about this emotion or that emotion or frustration. Just wipe the slate clean. You're starting over.
Why didn't San Antonio wipe the slate clean?
In Game 7, they could not.
In Game 6.
They played well in overtime.
No.
They did. Go look.
Did they
It was
win?
Close. No, they did not.
Okay, then.
But they picked themselves back
Joy,
up.
restaurant. What I'm serving, Joy?
Hot L.
Hot ales.
Well,
okay.
Then LeBron is disqualified from ever going to your restaurant again. What are you going to do? Just lock him out?
Guess what? Next year we're going to a team,
Yeah.
and we're gonna win the championship.
Really? Well, because you need a whole lot more help, right?
Well, we're gonna try to find. Look. He's gonna try to find, because right now they have the second and third or the second and fourth best players in the NBA on the same roster. So if we can get us a top 5, maybe a top 5 or top 6 player, we'll see what happens.
Maybe you can go to the commission and say, let's just do away with this salary cap because I need help. I need big help. Right?
Hold on. Isn't that what Golden State did? What did Draymond say?
You just told me.
What did Draymond say?
Kevin Durant
What
took
did
less money.
What did Hold on. No. I get all that being said.
Yeah.
What did Draymond say? What did Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Steve Kerr say? We need more help, KD.
They did, but we're not
Okay,
talking
then.
about Golden State. We're
Okay,
talking about
then.
LeBron James.
So hold on.
You told me that LeBron's better than any of those players. Only 5 get to play at one time.
Yeah. Stop doing that. One player versus a team. One player versus a team. So you see, so it's okay. So it's okay for Steph Curry and Kevin Durant to team up because they seem to not. They did. Steph did.
LeBron started this.
Yeah.
Stop that.
He did. I mean, I benefited from it, admittedly,
LeBron
but
didn't
he
start.
did start
LeBron
it.
didn't start this.
He didn't go to Miami?
No. Here's the see. What's the difference between a general manager putting the team together and players said, "Look, let's go here and play together"? The end result is the same, right?
I have no problem with any of it, but you can't have a problem with KD and not have a problem with LeBron doing it.
The difference is LeBron went to a team that lost in the first round. LeBron didn't go to a team that won 73 games and lost in the finals in a game 7.
But LeBron's way better than Kevin Durant. That's what you told me.
I said he's number 1 and number 2.
Did LeBron's injured hand cost him a championship? We'll discuss that with Chris Broussard next.
No mercy.
LeBron reportedly punched a whiteboard after the Cavs lost Game 1 and played the remaining 3 games of the finals with a bone contusion in his shooting hand. He averaged 34 points, 8.5 boards, and 10 assists in the series, but his scoring and field goal percentage all went down after Game 1. LeBron showed up to the post-game press conference on Friday with a cast on his hand and talked about the incident. Let's take a listen.
What happened? Self-inflicted. Post-game after Game 1, very emotional. For a lot of different reasons, understanding how important a Game 1 is on the road for our ball club. What would that done for us? The way we played, the calls that was made throughout the course of that game. I had emotions on, the game was taken away from us. I had emotions of you just don't get an opportunity like this on the road versus Golden State to be able to get a Game 1. And, I let the emotions get the best of me and pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So
We're now joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris. Good morning.
Thank you. Great to be here.
How much are you buying
Tough day,
LeBron's injury?
So you're asking me, do I think he's hurt?
Yes.
Yes, of course he was hurt. Look at the things that would have to happen for him not to be hurt. The doctors would have to fashion a cast for his hand just for him to wear to the post-game press conference. All the teammates, trainers, PR people,
it was like a brace.
coaches.
It's not even a cast.
Everybody
it's a soft cast.
It's still a cast that you have to fit to a guy's wrist.
You can buy them at the fitness store.
Okay.
No, you ain't buying.
Dick's Sporting
let's
Goods.
even
Go
there.
down. Go check it out.
Let's even go there. So somebody went out and bought a cast just for that. Okay? All the people in the organization would have to, look, we're going to say LeBron hit the whiteboard. We know he didn't, but just go along with the story.
Correct.
Nobody would leak. I don't know what you're talking about. LeBron did hit a whiteboard. Doctors at whatever hospital he got the MRIs at, 2 MRIs, would have to be in cahoots. Yeah, we'll go along. We won't say.
I'd like to hear from
LeBron
those doctors.
James.
I would like to hear from those guys
And then
today.
finally,
Yeah.
ESPN
Yeah.
would also have to be on board and run a photoshopped photo of LeBron's hand swollen up next to a regular hand.
It didn't look very swollen to me.
It
I couldn't
looked-
tell
oh
the
my
difference.
gosh.
I
It
couldn't
looked-
tell the difference.
It looked incredibly swollen.
Some blind witnesses might think.
No,
it was
now
swollen,
look. So was he hurt? Yes. But here's the crux. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. Just like with Steph Curry in the past. I don't want to hear about the knee when you're running around for 35 minutes a night, playing well, playing poorly, whatever. You look fine. I don't want to hear about the wrist.
Right.
You look fine. You play. Now, was it a problem? Was he hurt? Sure. But it's not an excuse. Okay? You played 40 minutes, 42 minutes, whatever it was. Nobody could tell you were hurt to the end. So that's number one. Secondly, it was self-inflicted.
Yes.
If he goes to the hole and Draymond hammers him, I'll give you, okay, that's a legitimate excuse.
Right.
You still play through it, but it's legit. This, you lost control. You did it to yourself. No excuse. So was he hurt? Yes. Is it an excuse? No.
You said the same thing I said. You just echoed my sentiments. The reason why you can't use it as an excuse because it was self-inflicted. You did this to yourself. Emotions were high, logic was low. You and I both know LeBron knows what he means to his team. So he wouldn't do that under a normal set of circumstances. But because of his emotions, he let his emotions get the best of him. He ended up not only hurting himself, he hurt his team's chance to go further. Even if he doesn't have that hurt hand, so what? He averages 38, 11, and 12. Exactly. Do we think the outcome is any different? No.
Well, wait a second. You spent 10 minutes at the top of this show telling me how he just didn't shoot at all in games 2, 3, and 4. He quit shooting.
No, he still averaged 34, 10, and 34, 11, and 9. Whatever he averaged.
On 53%.
On 53% shooting. But if you look from game 2 moving forward, as opposed to game 1 moving backwards, you can't tell me that's the same LeBron James. Because all of a sudden, his finishing at the rim dropped by 20%. That's not normal, Skip Bayless. And if you notice, a lot of his finishes, he's always trying to get to the left side to his left hand.
So you're saying it is an excuse?
No.
I think he's just saying it's a fact. It was a fact.
It's a fact.
Not an excuse. Can I say one thing too? There's no need for excuses.
Right.
They were beaten by a vastly superior team. He played tremendously. Like you said, 34, 10, 8, 53% shooting. And, okay, he got swept. Guess who else has been swept? Magic and Kareem. Kareem's still in his prime, swept by Moses Malone and Dr. J. Shaq and Kobe swept 2 years in a row in the Western Conference playoffs. Michael Jordan swept. It has happened to every great player. There's no...
Vastly superior?
Skip,
Did you see
Cleveland
what happened?
Was in the West, they might have got
What happened
beat
in
the first
game
round.
1 this year? This year's final. What happened?
He played phenomenally and they came close.
Were they not in position to win the game at the end of the game?
They had a
There are a lot of
chance, but they still were the
So was
inferior
Houston.
team.
Oh,
Houston was
really?
in position twice to win the game.
How about the
Exactly.
pivotal game 3 in LeBron's house? Was Cleveland not up a point with 3 minutes left?
Skip, a
You got the
point
best
with 3
player on the
minutes?
planet?
Does that mean they're not?
Okay, vastly superior. So wait, in 2 of the first 3 games, Cleveland was in position to win the game against the vastly superior
Just because
Golden
you're in
State
position
Warriors.
doesn't mean you're supposed to
Baloney!
win.
I'm calling baloney on both of you.
Come on.
They had it. If he's that guy, he gets it home in both games.
Like Tom Brady. If he's that guy, he gets it home.
Well, he's gotten it home a whole bunch of
Did
times.
he get it home
This
January?
Oh, he only set the all-time playoff record of 505
Now
yards.
that's
Let's say
matter.
LeBron was 34, 11, and 9. That gets thrown out the window.
Okay. See?
This was pathetic and shameful on LeBron's part, and Chris Broussard knows the history all too well. We have to go all the way back to the 2010 Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron had the Celtics down 2-1 and went into his shell, as he is wont to do, and just psychologically melted down in games 4, 5, and 6. And what did his inner circle immediately leak to the media? That LeBron had to be sedated before games 4, 5, and 6. It was widely reported on ESPN, was it not?
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. Wait a minute. Whoa, time out.
Sedated?
My former partner, Stephen A.Smith, went on Mike and Mike that morning and first reported it, and then we carried it on First
Was
Take.
it written in a report, or did Steve just say it? Was it ever written that LeBron James was sedated?
He reported it live on ESPN.
I thought it was in a
Trust
circle.
me.
They never have said that.
Okay.
Nobody in the Cleveland organization has ever told me LeBron James was sedated before those games.
Well,
Now,
Stephen A.
did
is
he go
pretty
in the
connected.
shell? He went to a shell. The one person told me that, and my guess is it's the same person that told Stephen A. That person is not in LeBron's inner circle, nor does he work for the Cavs.
Okay, so here we go again with the all-time worst excuse I've ever heard, that LeBron has to wear a hand cast to the post-game media session after. Could we see that again?
It was bad optics. I don't think he
he's
should've
walking
done
off the floor and he does his elaborate hand slap and handshake with his 2 sons. And you're telling me that then you need to go put on a hand cast after the game? And it's not even a cast, it's like a brace.
But when he's exiting the floor, Skip, does he shake anybody's hand? Does he touch anybody's hand with his right hand? Everything is backhand with his left.
So
With his
help me out.
sons?
There's his sons. Look at this. Are you
I
hurt?
do
Now you have to
agree.
put a cast on that?
I do agree, Skip. It was bad optics. I don't think he should have worn the cast.
Right.
To the press
He should have
It
just. He
opened
should
him
have
up to this.
He should have just told. Hey, I should have just told her I had an injured hand. And then if he says I have an injured hand, they say, well, where's the cast? He wears the cast, then it's back. So we already know LeBron can't win.
Cast. Okay, so he had a bruised hand. He even admitted it was not broken. He said it was pretty much I played 3 games with a broken hand, but it wasn't broken according to LeBron, right?
I agree. You're right.
So you have a bruised, LeBron's got a bruised hand. Oh, come on. Who doesn't play with some bruised
Stop it,
something?
Skip.
You know it, and
Stop.
I know it. How did, in games 2, 3, and 4, how did he make 22 of 27 free throws with that almost broken hand? It's a miracle. I don't know how he did it.
So why did it
I'm with you. It's not an excuse. I don't think it's an excuse.
And I don't think we're trying to use it as an excuse, but it goes to show you what we have seen throughout Bron in these playoffs. We've never seen this precipitous drop in field goal percentage after every game. You go back from game 1 and go back. I'll start with the Indy series, and you come all the way to game 1, and then you look at games 2, 3, and 4. He didn't shoot the ball as well as he did outside the lane. It got to games 2, 3, and 4. It was either a 3 or he's trying to get to the bucket.
Yeah.
There was no mid-range game to speak of.
Okay, let me ask you why you're both, but especially you, giving LeBron a pass for his meltdown in the sideline huddle ahead of overtime in game 1. That was all-time shameful for a player of that magnitude. I've never seen anything like it before because he threw in the psychological towel while throwing a tantrum. And then he pouted in overtime. Remember, he didn't even take a shot for the first 2:26 of that overtime. You've got them on the ropes in their house. And by the time LeBron shot the ball in overtime, they were down 7. And he took 4 half-hearted shots in overtime and missed all 4 of them. Is that why he hit the whiteboard with his fist? Or was it because of JR's blunder, which didn't cost them the game? It just cost them the opportunity to have a last shot at the game.
That's all you want is an opportunity. That's all you want is an opportunity. And they had the opportunity, and JR gagged it away.
Okay, all I wanted was the opportunity for LeBron to have the ball in his hands against 6'3" Steph Curry with 7 seconds left, because I've never seen him shoot the ball from distance better than he did in that game. Just shoot it.
Was
if you're that guy, it was not a great pass.
Layup.
George Hill was playing. Wait a
Layup.
second. George Hill was playing in his first ever finals game. LeBron was playing in his 46th finals game, and he, according to this man, is the best player on the planet and better than Michael Jordan. Take the shot. This is the shot of the finals.
At some
If
point,
you
Jack-
make
Can't
it.
hit a layup? If I can't trust my man to hit a layup, I'm sorry.
Well, you definitely can't
Come on.
trust it. I don't trust George Hill, and I'm on the record. It's not 20/20 hindsight. I was happy the Spurs got rid of him after 3 years of 2 first-round flameouts and a second-round sweep at the hands of Goran Dragic and the Phoenix Suns. That's what George Hill got you from San Antonio.
Where I do disagree with you, obviously, I think he was too emotional on the sideline.
Yep.
But this wasn't Dallas. Dallas, he looked scared, as you said, frozen. This was just, he was in a funk in that overtime, but this was nothing like Dallas,
No.
in my opinion. He still played great throughout the series, and he just was upset in that overtime.
He's not the guy then that he is now.
No, it's
and
totally-
even
I
with
think
that
it's
hand.
All the more reason that he should have pulled it together and had overtime in game 1. Can't be frustrated with J.R. Smith. JR's JR. What's different about what JR did? Everyone knows what JR is.
This is
He's the one that got him that contract.
Name me the player that hasn't had this happen. Kobe Bryant, who everybody says is a killer, and he is, stopped shooting in against Game 7 against Phoenix.
And they were
in the
up
second half,
3-1.
And they were up 3-1.
That was just a pure pout. He was just
Okay,
pouting.
what's the
I know.
difference? This was a pout. Michael Jordan, I agree with you, is the GOAT. 1989, Game 5, Eastern Conference Finals, Detroit. He takes 8 shots. Michael Jordan, who is a scorer.
Did
more
you
than
read the
LeBron.
book called The Jordan Rules? They had like 4 guys on him. They just were not going to let him get a shot off.
If you that guy, so don't make the basketball play. Shoot it. Shoot over him. Come
Wait a
on.
second. Did he
If
have
you
4?
that guy-
Wait. Did he have 4 guys on him? He had 6'3" Steph on a switch on him.
And
just
Mike
shoot the
had
shot.
6'2" Joe Dumars.
Oh, please, he had
on
everybody
him.
all over him.
I mean,
Go read
look,
the book.
I'm with Mike, but come on, you can't be judging LeBron
Oh,
one way
please.
and Jordan another.
Jordan.
Why did Michael only take 8 shots?
Because of the Jordan rule. You ought to go read the book
I
by
read
Sam
the
Smith.
book.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him
There
shoot.
aren't LeBron rules.
Huh?
Nobody's got LeBron rules. 8 shots.
There was no.
8
told-
shots.
wait. You told me
Wait.
that-
Did they double him on that play to take the ball out of his hands? No, they just let Steph
He
stay on
made
it.
a tremendous pass.
Tremendous
I can't
pass
have
to a
more
guy
time
you
left
can't
to say
trust.
it.
You can't trust George
I
Hill.
can trust every single NBA player to make a layup.
You cannot. He's going to get fouled. He's going to have to shoot free throws.
He's
Steph
an
just wrapped him up.
80% shooter.
He's never played in a finals game, and when he did play in big games for the
Everybody at some point in time had never
Well,
played.
also,
so
LeBron
wait a
did
second.
not punch the whiteboard over George Hill anyway. He punched it over J.R. Smith.
I think he punched it over his meltdown. That's what I think.
Stop it.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.